on this issue of saving, I think it's about what savings are we talking about and how is it measured? Because, for example, our national saving, the one as a percentage of GDP, it used to be around 17-18%.
No, it's
gone down to 12%. But I mean, even there are countries where, of course, if the rich countries like Qatar and those places where 50-60% people can save because of the. But let me tell you, coming down to, in our case, I think Kenyans are saving. The only thing is we are discouraged by our financial institutions, because when you have the interest rate, if you look at the interest rate spread between the deposit rate,
yes, and
on the savings account and the interest rates on the lending account. This is some of the things that people try to address when they were putting that law on putting a cap on interest rates, so that the difference between the two
must not
exceed us. Because why would I put my money in a bank? Those who take interest, put your money in the bank, get 4% or 5% at most. And if when you're borrowing, the same bank will give it to you at 13-15%.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive. And the government has worked for the interest of the banks. I've repeated this matter so many times. This country, our central bank, exists to serve the interest of banks only. They don't facilitate the economy. So it's all about making sure banks make trillions
100%
every year.
That we never really see, yes.
Yeah, but the fact that if you look at the SMEs, for example, the fact that Kenyans are using their they don't have access to credit. All our small businesses have no access to credit.
Not at all.
All the millions who start business every year, they say about 2 million businesses are registered every year, SMEs in this country. The money that they use to start up their business is their savings.
Yeah.
But that savings is not something that's measured in the bank. Because these are informal businesses, they are farmers, they are what, they've kept their little savings, and when she has 200, she goes and puts a burger on the street.
Yes.
She has got 200,000, she goes and puts a small table somewhere.
Yes.
That's the savings that is not measured by what the president is reading from.
So it's not really entirely accurate to say that they're not really savings.
Yeah. That's but
it's
all our SMEs, let me tell you, 99% of our MSMEs are using their own little savings and hard-earned money to run their businesses. They're not getting access to credit.
Billow, next
the issue of credit is a major issue. In fact, what the president should focus on is not about savings. He should punch the banks in the face and tell central bank, all the banks who are licensed must provide a certain percentage of their lending to SMEs.
I thought that's a punch we should.
No, I don't have much on that, but generally, I wanted, before I come there, to what the MSME boss said. Government, I think the role of government cannot be funding people. If we wait for government to fund businesses, it's not going to be easy. I think government is supposed to provide that environment.
To facilitate.
What this government can do, which many countries in this world are doing, is they encourage, through legislation on the financial sector, on the banking sector, to provide credit. And the government provides guarantees. The details is what they can work on. 35, make it 65, whatever. But in agriculture, that's why all those banks were started. Africa Development Bank, the Industrial Development Bank, ADC, AFC, isn't it? Bank.
Yeah.
That's how we started all those things at independence. And that is the trend in many of those countries up to now, where every sector has a bank where the government. So by providing certain policies, the government can influence how much, for example, the borrowers should be charged. And they will also help the banks on their risk, on their exposure, by providing some guarantee of sorts and so forth. So I think in my view that the focus should be more on policy really, and working towards providing that environment so that people can easily access money, and people can, rather than get government to give you to expect fund from the government is not going to be an easy thing. But they have provided in various ways. They have provided the youth fund, a women fund, this fund, that fund. Of course, they are not all coordinated.
No MSC fund.
They were not an MSC fund.
No MSC fund.
Yes. But even those ones have not done pretty well. All the way from NYS to
the premise
fund, whatever. They've not done pretty good. And even these banks now, the Beshara and all these banks, the objective was really for the government to try and this is a government bank, and so that they can provide credit to this to the businesses and help them, but it has not worked. I'm telling you. That's why I object to all these arguments of some counties. You hear counties saying we want to have a bank for our county. The ones in Western were trying to start a bank. Those things don't work. Let me tell you, because businesses want to borrow from banks. It doesn't matter whether you're an agriculture bank or a county bank or a Beshara bank or an MSE bank. Tomorrow they'll say we want an MSME bank. Those things don't work. I think for the businessman, what is important is giving him an opportunity by giving him an environment, a policy that will make things. A policy, let me give an example. You want to start an M-Pesa shop in this town today. The number of licenses that you're required to take for that little kiosk, they have to, first of all, you have to get the public health guys of the city council to inspect.
I don't know what inspection means.
And you know what inspection means. By the time you're going through all those things, the environment guys, the name guy, everybody, and get the license. The licenses, there are so many different types of licenses. That business is not worth it. This is why people are operating illegally in many of these things. I'm telling you, because they have just so many hindrances. That makes things difficult. And I think this is what for his industry, they need to focus on, so that. And this is what is the main flagship, the way I understand, of this bottom up, of this government, is to clear all that, barriers to trade, so that work becomes, and this is what he's going to table today. I think there's a bill. There's a bill he's going to table, or rather, is one of the items he's tabling this afternoon is to make work, free for people can do work, all kinds of work, and to avoid all those. I think once you remove all those barriers and all those challenges, then it becomes easy for people to do, including tax. Yeah, I mean, look, you are doing $1 million shilling, you are running a kiosk of 200,000-300,000, and they tell you, if the business is less than 5 million or something, you pay turnover tax of this. You have to register for this. Even the smallest business, when you register for the PIN. Automatically. And you register for the PIN, you have to do the returns. If you don't file the returns, there are penalties. I mean, there are just so many challenges. If you want to do business, you cannot